Welcome, everyone. Today we're diving into the really fascinating story of how Holland, Michigan came to be back in 1847, when a group of Dutch settlers, led by Reverend Albertus van Raalte, set out to build a new life in America.
Absolutely. It's such an intriguing tale, you know? What really strikes you is that mix of seeking religious freedom and economic opportunities, really a double-edged mission.
Right, exactly. These settlers left the Netherlands, mostly from the province of Gelderland, and they were really part of that secessionist movement within the Dutch Reformed Church.
Yeah.
They were determined to escape persecution and start fresh, which is kind of inspiring.
It is inspiring indeed. And it's like they had this burning passion to create a community where they could live according to their beliefs. Tell me more about the journey they took.
Oh, for sure. So, after they secured funding and organized everything back in the Netherlands, they embarked on a long transatlantic journey. They landed in New York first, and then they made their way westward. It's like they were on a quest for a promised land.
Yeah, it's almost like a modern-day adventure tale. But what about their initial plans? I heard something interesting about how they almost went somewhere else.
Exactly. At first, Van Raalte and his company had set their sights on settling in Wisconsin, but then they got advice. Apparently, the land in western Michigan was a much better choice. So they changed direction and ended up near Black Lake, now known as Lake Makatawa.
That's so fascinating. A real pivot in their journey. I mean, imagine the relief mixed with uncertainty, right?
Yeah, totally. And, you know, the area they arrived in was far from inviting at first. It was densely forested and swampy, not like
Absolutely.
your typical ideal farmland. But they saw potential.
Exactly. It's like they had to transform a wild landscape into a structured community. Tell me more about the initial community building.
So, one of the first priorities was building a church because, you know, their faith was at the core of everything.
Yeah.
They also built schools and clear the land to create a base for farming and settling in.
That makes so much sense. You can't build a community without a cultural and spiritual center, right?
Exactly. And it's funny. It's like they approached the land as if they were building a new world from scratch. They drained swamps, cleared thick forests, and battled harsh winters. It's a tale of grit and hard work.
It really is, though, I have to say. While all that struggle is amazing, sometimes I wonder if those hardships have been a bit romanticized in our retellings.
That's a solid point. I mean, they did face some brutal realities. Disease, severe weather, even malaria. It's not all heroism. There's definitely a raw side to it.
Yeah, exactly. It's important to recognize the real challenges behind the narrative of determination.
Definitely. And what's really compelling is how, despite all these obstacles, the community not only survived, but eventually thrived. They built industries, started agriculture, aligned manufacturing, laying the groundwork for modern Holland.
Right. It's almost like they set a precedent for what hard work and vision can achieve in hostile conditions.
Exactly. And you know, their legacy goes beyond just surviving. It really shaped the cultural fabric of Holland even today. Just think about the annual Tulip Time Festival. It's a vivid reminder of their Dutch heritage.
Yeah, that festival is like a living homage to their roots. It connects modern residents with the resilient spirit of those pioneer settlers.
Right, it's like every petal in those tulips tells a part of their story. A story marked with ambition, struggle, and ultimately achievement. And it shows how deeply embedded their legacy is in the city's identity.
Speaking of legacy, Van Raalte himself really seems to have been the kind of leader who could rally people together. How crucial was his role in navigating all these early challenges?
Oh, he was pivotal. His leadership was the backbone of the community. He steered not only spiritual guidance, but also secured financial support from both Dutch benefactors and American figures. Without that, the fledgling settlement might not have taken off.
It's remarkable how one person's vision and perseverance can impact so many lives. And isn't it just amazing that such a vision has left its mark even in the architecture and culture we see today?
Exactly. It's like they laid down a blueprint for community resilience. A blueprint that's evident in the buildings, the traditions, and even the festivals. It's a story embedded in every corner of Holland, Michigan.
And you know, there's something almost poetic about it too. Overcoming the odds in a harsh environment really paints a picture of human endurance.
Absolutely, it's like each struggle they faced was a stepping stone toward the Holland we know today. They had to contend with not just physical challenges, but also the emotional toll of starting over in a completely unknown land. That depth of struggle really humanizes the narrative.
Yeah, and even though it might sound almost too epic, the practicalities were immense. Clearing forests, draining wetlands. I mean, that kind of work takes forever and a day, right?
For sure. Imagine spending months, even years, battling the elements just to get a little piece of arable land. It's, like trying to carve a sculpture out of raw, unyielding rock. Brutal, yet so beautifully determined.
And despite everything, they not only cleared the land, but also established industries like lumber and manufacturing, laying the foundation for economic success.
Exactly. The economic aspect was just as critical. Their work in agriculture, lumber, and later on, manufacturing, helped solidify Holland as a booming city over time. It's a testament to how relentless effort can yield long-lasting growth.
It's truly impressive. I mean, think about it. What started with a few settlers braving disease, and winter now supports a vibrant community with rich traditions.
Totally. And it's that very sense of continuity, the way these early actions echo through time, that I find really captivating. It's like every brick of that first church and every tree they cleared set the stage for generations
Absolutely.
to come.
And speaking of that church, it's intriguing how the act of building a spiritual center became a cornerstone for the entire community's identity.
Yeah, exactly. The church was more than just a building. It was a symbol of unity and hope for the settlers, a place where they could come together despite the harsh conditions. It served as a gathering point, both spiritually and socially.
Right? And it goes to show that community building is as much about shared values and vision as it is about infrastructure.
Precisely. And even now, looking at Holland, you still see vestiges of that Dutch heritage in its architecture. Festivals like Tulip Time and the general cultural vibe.
Yeah.
It's a celebration of the founders' resilient spirit.
It really does make you appreciate how historical legacies can shape modern identity. But I wonder, do you think modern Holland fully captures the hardships of those early settlers? Or is it more of a sanitized homage?
That's a great question. I think there's a bit of both, honestly. While the modern celebration, like the Tulip Time Festival, certainly highlights the vibrant cultural heritage, it might gloss over the grittier details of their struggles. But at its heart, it still honors the perseverance and vision of those first settlers.
I agree. It's like a balanced narrative, celebrating the successes while also respecting the real, tough challenges they overcame.
Exactly. And that's what makes their story so compelling. Their legacy is a blend of spiritual, cultural, and economic triumphs, born from hardships that we can all learn from. It's a reminder that even when the odds are stacked, determination can forge a future.
Well said. And it's really inspiring to reflect on how such a small group of people facing tremendous adversity could lay the groundwork for a city with such proud traditions and a rich heritage.
Absolutely. It's a chronicle of hope and human ingenuity. And as we wrap up our conversation, it's clear that Holland, Michigan, isn't just a geographic location. It's a living story of resilience, vision, and community.
Yeah, perfectly put. It's been a fantastic journey discussing how a small band of settlers transformed the wilderness into a thriving modern city. Thanks for the deep dive. Truly inspiring.
Thank you all for tuning in and joining us on this engaging trip through history. Where every challenge was met with courage and every victory paved the way to a lasting legacy. Until next time, keep celebrating those roots that shape our modern world.